My campaign is homeworkfornewyork.com. We're looking for contributions. We're looking for volunteers. My campaign manager, Pax Hart, is up there. Please speak to him. The wife. We'd like to be on behalf of being told by Democrats every day, we can win this thing. We can win this thing. Now, in my second capacity, when Brandon comes up, everyone just shut the cell phones down. And if you're talking, you talk over me, but please don't talk over him. Thanks. Okay, because he's my friend, and I will tell you, Brandon Straka is a friend. We started. Give everyone a chance to. Okay. If anyone just needs to talk, you can go outside. As Deb said. Brandon is a very good friend of mine. We sat there, we were on my couch watching Netflix, binge watching Friends on Netflix back in March. And Brandon said, we should do something. We should do something. At this point, we were both conservative gay men who'd been kind of ostracized in our own community. Brandon had this idea. And Brandon's idea, to me, is a reminder that no matter how lofty an idea can sound, don't laugh at it. Because when Brandon describes sitting on my couch what he wanted, and what has happened, and what he has made happen in the last 6 months, is remarkably similar. In fact, it's kind of a little beyond. He wanted to give other people a place to put their voices. He wanted other people like us who weren't lucky enough to be in Manhattan, where whatever you are in Manhattan, you'll find someone like you. Come on, we're city-based people. Here we're going to find our dogs will find their own way in Manhattan. But elsewhere in the world, people are lost, and there are people who feel alone. And Brandon really wanted to say, the power of the internet, he wanted a place to bring people together. And he did it in the best way possible. He gave people the gift of who he is. He put together a script. Background music? He put together a script and he read it for today. It became the script of the Walkaway video that was released on May 26th of this year. That has, and when we talk about viral, we use the viral loosely. I've got a video up that's got around 13,000 views. Like, oh, it's viral! Brandon's has 10 million. We were on my couch eating food the other night, and somebody called. He has an interview with some radio. He did it again. He's there for everyone. He contributes in a massive way to the people around him. He's generous with his volunteers. He's formed movement. He's going to be talking to United about the Walkaway March and looking for support for that. It is this month. It is a show of force we need in Washington. It was his idea. He made it happen, and people joined him. So we have tonight. Without further ado, please welcome Brandon Straka.
Hi, everybody. I've been doing media every day this week, starting at like 5 in the morning, so I don't know where I am anymore. I'm Brandon Straka, and I created the Walkaway campaign. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Is that Jonathan? Hi. That's my friend Jonathan. I love him. I'm going to work you into the story now.
Oh, God.
So, as many of you know, so I'm going to say a lot of things tonight that if any of you have kind of followed my story and followed the campaign and followed some of the media I do, you've probably heard some of these stories before, but I'm going to assume that some people probably have never heard them at all. So some of these things may sound repetitive to you, and I'll maybe throw in a few brand new stories as well. But I was a lifelong liberal, a lifelong Democratic Party voter, well, as an adult, a lifelong Democratic Party voter. And, I would say that I was kind of a Democrat by default because I'm a gay man. And I think that, as we know, the Democratic Party has done an amazingly effective job at marketing themselves towards minority groups in America. Whether you're African American or Hispanic or LGBT or even a woman. You are expecting, right? You didn't vote for Hillary, you are the devil and a traitor to your But, and that's one of the, can you see my shirt?
Yeah.
So that's one of the tactics I think that they love to employ, that what we just said, the peer pressure, that the societal pressure and the expectation that you are expected to behave a certain way and you are expected to vote a certain way if you are a minority or one of their chosen, that they have the clutches in. So, I fell for their slick advertisement, their marketing. And so I always voted Democrat. When I went into the booth and if I saw D, I check, D. I didn't even know the people at the time. I didn't even know what the hell the office was half the time. Check. And the thing that upsets me the most, and I think one of the greatest catalysts for me creating the Walkway campaign was that I believed the media that we're talking about tribal mentality, and I think that liberals are very tribal, and so I always bought into the media that directed, the news to my tribe. I thought CNN told the truth, Imagine my surprise. I thought MSNBC told the truth. I thought Rachel Maddow told the truth. This is like interactive theater. I love it. All right, so leading up to the election, well, no, I'm actually going to go a little further back than that. Even before the 2016 election, I was starting to find a lot of holes in the logic of liberalism, and they were upsetting me. And I actually saw it changing. I became a liberal because I felt like I was for equality. I felt like I was progressive. I was all about the evolution of the human race, and I felt like everybody on the right were a bunch of knuckle draggers who were trying to keep us back in time and trying to that those demon straight white men who are trying to keep us all held back. And that's what I thought. But then I started to see as time went on and on how the language was beginning to change. I was starting to hear more about privilege and hierarchy and oppression and victim and victim and victim and victim, and you're a victim and you're a double victim, you're a triple victim. Oh, God help you if you're a trans, black, lesbian, victim. And even maybe that could be fine, except for the fact that what started happening next was, because I'm a victim, you're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not allowed to talk. Because I'm a victim and you're my oppressor, it's what I say goes. There's only one way of thinking, and you have to go along with it, or you're a monster, and you're a bigot, and you're a racist, and you're a sexist, and you're a homophobe, or you're transphobic. This was bothering me a lot. This was really bothering me a lot. There's a story that I always remember. I have, not anymore. I used to have a really liberal group of friends. They haven't been texting me recently. But I used to hang out with them all the time, and we would go out and party, and then we'd always end up back at somebody's apartment, and we'd party more. And then ultimately we'd end up talking politics. And now I was a liberal at the time, and I was hanging out with these liberal people. But even then, I was beginning to feel like what I was hearing just wasn't making sense to me. And here's something else you should know too. I didn't go to college. Okay, I'm a high school graduate. I am not college educated. Thank you. I hope that that's an accomplishment. I didn't go to college so well. But all of my friends, just as it happened, were Ivy League educated people. And so I would sit around with them and they'd be talking politics and I wouldn't understand what they were saying. And I remember this one night so vividly in particular. We were all sitting in a circle talking, and my friend Amy was talking about how cocaine is a white people drug. And crack is a black people drug. And the reason why is because because crack is really cheap, and so it's targeted towards people who are in the ghetto who can't afford to do luxurious white people drugs like cocaine. And she said, and she went on to tell me that there are much stiffer penalties for crack use than there are for cocaine use, and that this was very racist because the legal system knew that black people do crack and white people do cocaine, and so these laws were set up to be racist to target black people. Now, I was sitting here listening to all of this, and my mind was just circling and circling, and I waited for a quiet moment, and I said, well, what if they just didn't do crack? And everybody looked at me like I grew a third fucking head. And she goes, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, if they're a part of this minority community, and this minority community is being targeted in this way because of the penalties for this drug use, what if they just didn't do crack? And instead, use it as an incentive to say, I'm going to keep on this straight and narrow because I'm already having a target on my back anyway, so I better just do the right thing. And she said to me, you're not getting it, you're not getting it. It's racist, you're not getting it. I was like, well, run it by me again, run it by me again. So she did, and I just said, I just think that if it were me, and I knew that someone was out to get me, I would use that as an incentive to do better, to do better with my life. She kept telling me I didn't get it, they all kept telling me I didn't get it, and you know what? I walked away that night and I really felt like I didn't get it, because I thought, well, these guys are Ivy League educated, I didn't go to college, obviously they're smarter than me, they know better than me, and they're right, I don't get it. And I just took that to mean that I was wrong, But as time went on, I started to feel more and more disenchanted with what I was hearing from the liberals and the liberal ideology, and I was just like, God, this is really a problem for me. And I don't get why it's not a problem for more people. Like, I felt so alone because I was feeling more and more pushed out and squeezed out, and I was just like, is there anybody else in the world who feels the way that I feel? I don't understand. And let's skip to 2015. So, a little guy named Donald J. Trump started running for president. And when he entered the race, the media treated it like a joke. They thought it was really funny. And it's very interesting if you go back and you trace it back, you look at the timeline. I mean, we didn't hear anything about him being a racist, a Nazi, a bigot, a white supremacist. They thought it was really funny. Now let me ask you something. If you thought that Hitler was running for office in the primary, would there be any point where you thought that was funny? Would there be any point where you're like, let's all watch Saturday Night Live and make fun of Hitler, he's running for office, he might win the presidency. They thought it was hysterical. And then all of a sudden it got to be primary time and it wasn't so funny anymore, because it was very obvious that the American people were responding to this man, that he was connecting with people in a way that nobody else was. And that there was this entire demographic of people, huge demographic of people who finally were, I just got chills, who finally were being heard for the first time in a long, long, long time. It became obvious that he was going to win the primary, and then it wasn't funny anymore. All of a sudden, overnight, that joke went away. And I believe that they sat back and they thought to themselves, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Well, we better get pretty clever now. What are we going to do? Because not only is he going to win the primary, but there's a pretty good chance that she doesn't have it anymore, that she does not have this in the bag. And they thought, well, what triggers liberals more than anything? Social injustice. We have to make this man the biggest monster that the world has ever seen. We have to create the second coming of Hitler. We have to go out and find every opportunity that we can to paint this man as the biggest bigot, xenophobe, homophobe, transphobe, misogynist that the world has ever seen. And the way that they did this was, they would go to his rallies. I'm going to save that story for later. No, I'm going to tell it right now. Because I didn't find this out until after I was already red-pilled. But they would go to his rallies, and sometimes groups of black people would show up to support him, and CNN would cut them out of the shot to make it look like there were only white people there.
Fake news.
Fake news, baby. Fake news. They would isolate tiny little sound bites of moments and tell us that he called all Mexicans rapists, that he advocated for the sexual assault of all women, that he hated Muslims, that he hated gays. I bought every word of it. I believed every single word that they said. And I found comfort in the fact that they also told me that he had a 30% chance of winning, a 20% chance of winning, a 10% chance of winning, a 5% chance of winning, a 3% chance of winning. Now we were laughing again. Now it was funny. We were getting closer and closer to election day. We all were getting our little, Hillary kabuki dolls to put up in our we were all just like, already had like the picture in the frame to hang above our beds and stuff. And, we were all ready. President Hillary Clinton. And boy, did we get a shock on election day. Yeah, by then they said that he had a 3% chance of winning. And so I was one that was on election day, like many people in this city, absolutely gobsmacked, flabbergasted, and frankly horrified by what I was seeing when I was watching the results come in on my television. I couldn't really take it anymore, so I went to bed. Well, it went on so late too, but I went to bed and I thought to myself, I can't even deal with this. I can't even process this. And I was just tossing and turning. I didn't sleep a wink that night, and I would turn over every 5 minutes and look at my phone, hoping they were like 700 electoral votes given for Hillary Clinton. It didn't happen. And then somewhere around probably 2 or 3 in the morning, I rolled over and I opened my phone and I opened the world's most reliable source, the Huffington Post. And I read the headline, and in giant red letters it said, "Nightmare, President Trump." And then my heart just started pounding. I've got PTSD over this. And then underneath the picture, it said, I'm paraphrasing, but you can do a Google search for the image. It's still online. Under the picture, because there's a picture of him, he was probably going like this or something. And under the picture, it said, "Millions to lose their health insurance, people's rights to be rolled back, blah, blah, blah." And then it said ... and other possible headlines from a Trump presidency. They were predicting the future of a Trump presidency and putting the headlines on their front page. I mean, they started scaring people the second that man got elected. Literally the second that man got elected. And once again, it worked very effectively on me. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I woke up the next day in a complete state. I was just absolutely disturbed. It was so dramatic. I had to cancel my day. I was a hairstylist. I was like, cancel all my appointments. I can't get anywhere near a pair of scissors today. Or bleach. Yeah. So, I was absolutely horrified. I got on Facebook and I just started talking. I started crying. And then this went on for a week where I was just getting on Facebook and purging my feelings. Now, you guys may not know, I grew up in Nebraska, in a tiny little town. In Nebraska, yeah, my graduating class from high school was 18 people. I know middle America. And they're great people, by the way. They're really great people. They are. But I was angry. I was very, very, very angry, and I was disturbed, and I was confused, and I was conflicted, and I was, saying that I'm never going to go back to Nebraska again. I never want to have anything to do with those people again. I know they all voted for Trump. I hate them. But the one saving grace that I think I had was that I really wanted to understand why. Why? How could this have happened? What were you guys thinking? I mean, even if you didn't like her, you had a problem with her damn emails. Why this? What? So I was going on Facebook constantly, asking, and okay. So I did do this one thing that maybe this kind of set up why no one was answering me. So it was one of the first days after the election. I took a picture of Donald Trump going like this, and I placed it next to that picture of Melania where she's completely naked in high heels. And then below that, I posted a picture of Eric and Don Jr. holding that dead animal in Africa. And I was like, "America's new first family. Aren't you proud of yourself?" Sorry. It's 2 years ago, and I'm not a liberal anymore. Anyway, so I posted that, and then after that, I kept like, saying like, why did you guys do this? How did you do this? And shocked, no one would answer me. But in January, mid to late January of 2017, I posted a post, and I said, I will never, for the life of me, be able to understand how you people were okay with voting for a man who stood before a cheering crowd and mocked a man's disability. What the hell is wrong with you people? And finally, like a little angel, somebody spoke up, and it was a woman who was my babysitter. When I was a baby, I mean, literally, she reached out to me privately on Facebook, and she said, look, I don't want you to rip me a new asshole, but I'm just asking, have you seen this? And it was a video entitled, Debunking that Trump Mocked the Disabled Reporter. And I read the title, and just reading the title, I became instantly incensed. I was like, oh my God, this is more right-wing propaganda, more brainwashing, like tinfoil hat bullshit. And I was like actually excited to watch it because I was like, I can't wait to call Diane and tell her how stupid she is for falling for this propaganda. So I had to watch the video so that I could tell her how dumb she was. And I watched it, and what happened next is I watched 5 to 6 minutes of a compilation of footage of Donald Trump over the course of 10 plus years doing that exact same voice and that exact same gesture numerous times with numerous people, but the commonality was this. He was imitating someone who was caught in a lie, or somebody who was doing something shady, or somebody who was groveling because they were caught doing something dishonest. It became abundantly clear and compelling to me that he didn't mock that man's disability at all. Yes, the man was disabled, but he was making fun of the fact that this person who happened to be disabled was caught in a lie. And it blew my mind. And for anyone in this room who's never had a transitional sort of experience like this, it's nothing like this in my life has ever happened to me before. I mean, it's almost impossible to describe the sensation. I felt like I was dissociating from my body because there was like this disconnect between my brain and my heart. Because my brain kept saying, oh my God, I don't think he made fun of that guy's disability. And my heart kept saying, but we hate him, but we hate him, but we hate him. And I couldn't figure it out, and I had to close my computer and just be like, okay, let's revisit this tomorrow, just revisit it tomorrow. So the next day I woke up and I watched it again, and I was like, he didn't make fun of that guy's disability, he didn't. And so I started asking liberal friends of mine, have you seen this? Like, what do you think about this? And instantly, the anger came out. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, what, you love Trump now? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you doing? I said, I don't love Trump. I'm literally just asking a question. I'm trying to get some answers. I'm trying to figure this out. And people are like, well, what difference does it make if he did or didn't do it? He's horrible. And I started to see something right away. In my mind, I was thinking to myself, here we've been horrified, scared to death. The news is telling us every day that hate crimes are on the rise, that if you're black, Jewish, gay, Hispanic, that you are in danger, that people are hunting you, they're spray painting swastikas all over everything, that the KKK's numbers are rising, and we're scared, right? So here I am presenting this thing to you that says, hey, maybe we don't have to be so afraid. Maybe things aren't as bad as they seem. Maybe the media bent the truth a little bit here, but people didn't want to. They didn't want to be assuaged. They wanted to be angry. They wanted to hate him. They didn't want to be presented with anything that had, it was almost like an addict having their drugs taken away and them saying, don't take away this thing that's going to make it harder for me to hate him. I want to hate him. And you know what? I understood it. That's the same sensation that I had been having. So it became clear to me that I wasn't really safe asking these questions to anybody. I wasn't safe opening up these conversations. So what it did was really forced me to retreat within myself, and I would get into bed at night after working, after a long day, and I would just start reading and doing research, and I would start watching videos and trying to plug in all the holes that were in all of the story that I didn't have anybody to talk to about. And I started to find the most amazing things. Now, this is when I really started to see, I kind of traced everything back to the beginning. I started at the beginning with the Mexicans rapist comment, and what I discovered was he actually spoke very glowingly of the Mexican people and the country of Mexico, and what they did was take a moment out of context where he was talking about the Mexican government releasing criminals over the border, but they told us that he called all Mexicans rapists. And story after story after story, and I thought, my God, this media machine that I have trusted my entire life has been lying, I mean, not just a little bit, like lying their faces off to all of us. And what I really started to see, and this made me more angry than anything, was after, months into his presidency, story after story. Trump expected to repeal LGBT rights. Trump expected to sign executive order turning back the clock on gay rights. Trump expected to break into every gay person's home and shoot them in the head. And now I'm starting to have my eyes open, but I'm running around seeing all these gay people like, what are we gonna do? I was like, no, guys, I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be okay. But they didn't want to know it was gonna be okay. They were angry at me for saying it's gonna be okay.
They enjoy it.
Well, I think that they don't know any better yet. We're getting there. So I would get in bed every night and I would do research and I would watch videos and I would read. And for the first time in my life, I was actually open to begin taking in the conservative point of view, which in the past I didn't even want to know it. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to know anything about it. I used to see Tucker Carlson's bow tie and I want to punch him in the face. I love that man so much. And I was here the other night when he spoke, and it was like, I didn't think I could love him more, and now it's almost like at an unnatural level of love. He's a gift from God. Little gift from Jesus. And so I started watching Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and Milo Yiannopoulos. and Katie Hopkins and Jordan Peterson. And on and on and on. And I started to really listen to what they were saying, and for the first time in my life, I started to see, especially when I would watch Tucker Carlson debate, because we all know what happens if, first of all, CNN and MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, they don't even really do debates, but if they did do a debate, we all know what they do. They go into some trailer park in Kentucky, and they find somebody with 2 teeth, and they bring them on, they say, we're talking today with a typical Trump supporter. But Tucker actually has PhDs and lawyers and educated professors and people who are liberals, and he wipes the floor with them when he debates them. And I started to see that the conservative point of view made so much more sense, and I started to finally understand why all those years when I was hanging out with liberals and what they were saying didn't make any sense to me, why I just didn't get it. You know why I just didn't get it? Because it doesn't make sense. And I was able to escape because I didn't go to college. If I have discovered anything in the last year and a half, it is that the more educated a liberal is, the more indoctrinated they are. I always say that when the great walkaway is complete and everyone has left the left, the only people who will be remaining are all the non-binary people and all the really educated lawyers. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. I still don't get it. I'm non-binary. It's just I don't get it. Anyway, I don't think anyone does it. But anyway, so it started to make sense to me that that the media had been dishonest with me, and that the conservative point of view was making so much more sense. And then, so by the time we got to 2018, I had lost nearly every friend that I had. I stopped getting invited to parties. I got unfriended constantly on social media. My phone quit ringing. I stopped getting text messages, and those were there's different tiers of being dissed by liberals. So that's the lower tier. Then you go up another tier. It's they're tiers of insanity. Liberal tiers. If you go a tier higher, there's the ones that aren't content to just simply walk out graciously. They have to slander you and say that you're on drugs, that you're brainwashed, that you've joined a cult, that you've had a nervous breakdown. I've gotten all of those things too. There are the people who try to get you fired from your job. There are the people who try to hurt your family. there's all sorts of things that people will do when you challenge the group thing that they have found themselves so in the tribal mentality that they've become so comfortable in. Well, by the time I got to early 2018 this year, I was sick of it. I was really, really sick of it. I mean, I got to the point where I was like, I hardly have any friends left anyway. So there was like very little left to lose. And I'm very, very sick and tired. I'm a gay man. I've already done the closet thing. Like, I've done it. I'm over it, I'm done, not doing it again. And I don't wish it for anybody else either. And so I thought to myself, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write what I call the definitive manifesto of everything that's wrong with liberalism and the Democratic Party. And I did. And then I shot a video using that script, and the video was about 6 minutes long. And as I think my friend Pete Holmberg said earlier, we were kind of sitting on the couch together one night just being like, what the hell are we going to do? I mean, we had such a parallel between our stories. I mean, we got red-pilled around the same time. We were having a lot of the same experiences. And I said, Pete, I really think I want to make this statement. I don't know, I'm afraid, I was like, on the one hand, I had very little to lose because so many people have already left me anyway, but I was like, with my luck, I'll make this video, I'll put it on social media, and 50 people will watch it total, and it'll be like the 50 people who for the rest of my life will be responsible for whether or not I get a job or housing. I saw your video, Yeah, so I shot the video anyway. He gave me a good pat on the back and said, look, you have to do this. Thank you, sorry. He was home. And so I did it. And I shot the video and I kind of just let it sit for a week or so. And I thought, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? But I thought to myself, something is missing. Why am I not ready to just throw this out there? And it dawned on me at some point, the reason why I'm not ready to throw this out there, and the thing that's been missing, is that I know that I'm not the only person who's feeling this way. I know it. I know that there are probably tens, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this country who are feeling exactly the way that I am, that they are sick and tired of feeling oppressed and inhibited and repressed by liberal ideology and culture. They're sick and tired of being lied to by the liberal media. They're sick and tired of being called racists and bigots and monsters and homophobes. They're sick and tired of socialism and communism, and they're sick and tired of being valued less than illegal immigrants. I know that I'm not alone here, and I know that other people are seeing everything that's wrong with liberalism too. I'm going to create a campaign in which I encourage other people to make their videos as well and tell their stories. We're going to create a massive network of support of people who can finally kind of come out of that closet and speak their truth and tell the truth and find the courage together to walk away. But then I thought of one more thing too. I thought about after the election how I kept going on social media and I was ranting and raving and asking questions. Why did you vote for him? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? And no one would answer me. For months, no one would answer me. And over the course of 2017, I got to know conservatives, and not just on my phone in my bed at night, but like actually start speaking to real conservatives. They really exist. What I discovered is that they're actually really nice people and really good people who've got a really, really unfair shake, both from liberals and the liberal media. And I thought to myself, I remember how, if only every other person knew what I knew and discovered what I had discovered, thanks to the help of a kind-hearted conservative who had the courage to speak up and reach out to me and say, have you seen this? What if every conservative did that? What if every conservative kindly reached out to somebody and said, hey, have you seen this? And I thought to myself, it's not enough for people to walk away from the left. It's time for the silent majority to become unsilent.
Yes.
And so I said, I want people on the right to make their video testimonials too. I want you to tell your stories. I want you to take the narrative back from the liberal media and the left of what it means to be a conservative and what it means to be a Republican. That you're not a bunch of racists and bigots and homophobes and horrible people. That you're actually really good and kind-hearted people who just happen to not hate the president, or maybe some of you do, or that you're patriotic and you care about this country, and you care about our future. I talked to somebody last night, she's a lifelong conservative, and she said to me, this campaign has saved my life. It really saved me. And she said, I had gotten to the point where my husband and I were afraid to celebrate the 4th of July because we felt like it was racist. She was just like, she's like, we actually felt weird about like lighting fireworks and stuff in our yard because she was just like, we feel like, or to hang a flag. Like she was like, we were uncomfortable doing that because it's just gotten to the point where we feel like we're bigots for loving America. And that's not okay. It's not okay and it's not right. So I created this campaign, I put it out there, and within a month, my video got millions of views. And people started creating their videos, and it started exploding. Now, I did this on Facebook. It started on Facebook as a group page, the hashtag #WalkAway campaign. And people started making their testimonials and creating their videos, and literally, my heart was swelling with pride. And I started to get messages from people all over the country and all over the world saying, for the first time in 8 years, I have hope again. Don't expect it. It's just like, that for the first time in 10 years, I have hope again. For the first time, that I had given up on America. I thought that we were lost forever and there was no turning back. And thanks to this campaign, I feel like we can actually turn things around again. Now, at this point, the hashtag #WalkAway campaign on Facebook alone has about 190,000 members in it, and most of them have created, yeah, go ahead. We have thousands of video testimonials, we have tens of thousands of written testimonials, and as things tend to do on social media, it's spread like wildfire. And if we look at all the analytics on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, we have about 385,000 people who have participated in the #WalkAway campaign, making testimonials, using that hashtag and telling their stories. It's amazing. The thing that I'm the most proud of, which may sound weird to people, but it's true, I'm really, really proud of the African Americans who have stepped up and made their testimonials. Of any group, I think, in America, they have the heaviest weight of pressure and burden on them that they are supposed to vote a certain way and supposed to think a certain way, and it is just pounded on them by the media and by the Democratic Party. And what's so amazing is that on the right, not only do people on the right welcome people of all races and all backgrounds and all identities and all walks of life, but we really are, I say we, yeah, you know that's a we. but we're all really about empowering the individual, allowing people to see. You're only a victim in America if you want to be a victim, if you choose to be a victim. And if you want to exist in a state of extreme victimhood, at a certain point you become your own oppressor too. But through this campaign, people are finding courage, and they have found hope, and they have found support and solidarity and unity, and they have found the courage to walk away. And I think even greater than that is there's this incredible atmosphere that's been created in that Facebook group where people are communicating with each other. Listen, some people are new walkways, they don't know where to go. And that's the thing, walkaway I always say is a journey, not a destination. I'm not starting a cult, I'm not starting a new religion, I'm not starting a new political party. I'm not telling people what to think, I'm not encouraging people to leave groupthink and walk towards a different groupthink. This is about leaving the left and identifying that what we want for America is something better than name-calling, violence, vandalism, hostility, fake news, censorship, socialism, communism, and the value of people who don't live in this country more than the people who do. You know, this is what we're walking away from. Now, what the campaign has are people who newly walked away, people who are libertarians, people who are independents, people who are Republicans. Some people love the president, some people don't love the president. But what happens in this room is that people engage in civil discourse, in conversation. They treat each other with dignity and respect. You know, there's a kindness and compassion that's found its way back into political conversations in the Walkaway campaign. It's really become, I think, the 2018 prototype for what political conversation should really look like in America, and it has been lost for a very, very long time, and we want it back. One thing that started to happen as the campaign became more and more popular is that we got the attention of the media. And you know, I was thrilled to go out and talk to all these different sources that wanted to speak about the campaign and meet all these people who I had admired for months and months on Fox News. I used to hate these people. I have the biggest crush on Judge Janine now. Like sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm like, God, I love you. God, I just love you. But something that started to happen was as the campaign became more popular and the media got a hold of it, the liberal media could no longer ignore us. But you know, God forbid they reach out to me for a comment or ask me for an interview. That's still never happened to this day, but that hasn't stopped them from writing dozens and dozens of stories about the campaign. And what they say is that it's Russian propaganda. They say that all the numbers in the group are Russian bots. They say that the members of the campaign are paid actors. They clearly invested in my checking account. And they say that the pictures are stolen from Shutterstock and the testimonials attached to them are fake. This may
sponsored by George Soros.
No, but this made me very, very angry for a number of reasons. Not just because I was proud of the campaign that I created and that had become so successful and come to mean so much to so many people. Not even that, but because of the pride that I felt in all the people who had been silent for so long, who had found the courage to step up, who had finally found their voice, that silent majority who was now becoming unsilent, and now they're just getting slapped and kicked around by the liberal media. And once again, the media, who doesn't care about these people whatsoever, is very content to talk about them, but not talk to them, is invalidating them once again, and delegitimizing them. Not one to go down quietly. I thought to myself, well, what are we going to do about that? So I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, we will have, right before the midterm elections, a walk-away march on Washington. People have to show up. That's but you know, I mean, if this is what they want to do, if they want to slap these people down who have found their courage, if they want to invalidate them and delegitimize them, let's get everybody together and let's march in our nation's capital. And so that's what we're doing October 26th to the 28th of this month in Washington, D.C. Let me tell you about the weekend, because this is just so great. I just like it. I have the best volunteers, and I'm just amazed. On October 26th, we are having a gala dinner at Trump International Hotel. That is a Friday night. And just in case, as I'm talking, you're missing any of these details, you can always go to walkawaymarch.com. And I put some flyers on the tables and stuff too. So on Friday night, we're doing a gala dinner at Trump International Hotel. Whenever I try to remember, I blank out, but all the speakers on the list, we have Stacey Dash, we have Dinesh D'Souza, we have Pastor Burns, we have, look at the list, because I blank out when I try to say the name. They're all there. We have the most. She's in DC, but she's with Turning Point. They're doing an event at Turning Point. Yeah. Yeah, it is too bad, but you know what? At least we get a lot of people in DC, and they can kind of, you know, that's the important thing. Oh, my remote speakers! Let me tell you about my remote speakers. Okay, this is amazing. So I reached out to everybody that I've met in the last 4 months, which is a lot of people. It's amazing. And even those that I haven't met. And everybody was overwhelmingly enthusiastic and saying, you know, either yes, I'll be there, absolutely, or I wish I could be there, but we're already booked. How can we help? And so for those who said, how can we help? Can I just say, by the way, Tommy Lahren is the sweetest girl on the face I've ever if you email Tommy Laren, she'll respond to you before you've even hit the send button. I'm like, hey Tommy, can you come to the walkway march on Washington? She said, yes, I can't be there. Actually. Like, she'll get back to you immediately. So she was the first one to get back to me and say, I can't be there, I'm already booked, how can I help? And I said, well, what if you do a video? Because we're at the March and Rally, we're gonna have big screens and we're also telecasting the event. And so I was like, what if you act as a remote speaker? And she was like, I can absolutely do that. So our remote speakers are Tommy Laren, Diamond and Silk. The sexy as Antonio Spotto Jr. Herman Kane. I love the good eggs. That guy's so great. I love that guy. Dave Rubin. You guys know Dave Rubin? Love Dave Rubin. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, even though I shouldn't, because I'm one of those that I never like to let the cat out of the bag until I'm 100% certain that there is a cat in the bag. But I got reached out to this week by Donald Trump Jr.'s people.
What?
They said he loves the campaign, he loves the March on Washington weekend. He can't be there because he's going through a divorce and he's watching his kids. But they said he'd be happy to be one of your remote speakers to make it for you. No big deal, just the President of the United States' son. So that's our dinner, and on the 27th, which is Saturday, we are going to have our march in the National Mall. That's where all of the speakers on the list that you see before you are going to really tell people the importance of why it's so important that these midterms that people get out and you've got to vote red. And I don't care if you just walked away 2 minutes ago while I was talking. You've got to get out, you've got to vote red this time. Because a non-vote is a vote for a Democrat at this point. You've got to vote, and you've got to vote red. Because otherwise you're just allowing the president to be impeached, and we're going to roll back all the progress that we made so far. And our country's going to be run by lunatics. And I don't want that to happen. And then on Sunday, the 28th of October, we're closing out with our closing brunch, also at Trump International Hotel. And Dinesh D'Souza is going to be our keynote speaker for the I'm going to close out tonight by telling you something. I like to end on kind of a fun note. This is something kind of fun. You guys don't know this, but in 2013, I was a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. And I won! I totally kicked my opponent's asses. I went to the bonus round and I won everything. Why am I telling you this? Because I love games. I love games. So I have a game for everybody. So we've created these really fun contests leading into the march. So I just want to tell you, if you text 51104. Oh, he doesn't know your dial. Give me just a second. This is cool, you guys. You're gonna love this. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I have it right. Oh, here it is. Okay. So there are 3 words. So just listen with me. I'll tell you. Okay. So if you text the word merch to 51400, you can enter for a chance to get a walkaway t-shirt. If you text the word gala to 51400, you can get a gala dinner ticket to the Trump International Dinner. If you text the word brunch, you can get a ticket to the brunch with Dinesh D'Souza if you text 51400. And then if you just text the word walkaway to 51400, we'll just send you little updates and things like, hey, come to the march, come on, help us out, be there. And for anybody who's interested too, you guys all look like, no one looks like they're hurting for money in this room, to be honest. But we do have busing options available for any, because a lot of people have been asking, will there be buses, And I just want to say too, it's unfortunate that none of them are in this room. Everything that we're doing with the Walkway campaign is grassroots. We don't have any major donors. We don't have sponsors. This is literally everything we've done so far is through GoFundMe and PayPal donations of about $20, $30, $40. People helping to step up and contribute to us, because this is what this message means to so many people. If anybody wants to help us out in a volunteer capacity with the march, please go to walkwaymarch.com. You can click those email addresses of how you can get involved and help. If you're able to click on fundraising and make a donation towards the cause, we love that. We love your help because, like I said, we're not funded. We're doing this all on our own because it's a movement of the people, by the people, for the people. And I really hope to see you all at the Walkway March on Washington. Thank you all so much.
So everyone, if we're friends who call on you, just speak loudly if you could, because we have a lot of people here. So you're going to